Let's talk Black Mirror, Beyond the Sea on Netflix. This is one of my favourite episodes of Black Mirror. A lot of people didn't like season 6. For me personally, I love season 6. This showed the dark side of humanity. Black Mirror is a lot about technology. This is sort of how we merge technology with the dark side of human nature as well. At the start of this episode, we see two men and their families. You have David and his family and you have Cliff and his family. David is very nurturing, very warm towards his family. He still likes to draw, he sketches his family still. He goes to the cinema with his family. He's very affectionate towards his wife. And then you see Cliff's home life. Home life is a bit more reserved. He doesn't really have a close dynamic with his wife. He is sat at the dinner table. He's not eating dinner. He's not participating in anything. He's not talking. Very different, two different lifestyles, and you get the picture. At the start, you're kind of unsure why this is because you don't know the whole background story. Cliff and David are both in space and the replicas are down on Earth. You get the hint of that when David goes to the cinema and he's approached by a couple. They say like, wow, you look so real, and they touch him and they're like, oh my god, can't believe you're real. Are you really up there in space? Kind of tells you what you need to know. Obviously, being a Black Mirror episode, you know not everything on face value is the case. You know, something's going on here. Tell by the behaviours of people. Also, when Cliff is chopping wood, he says to his son, I'm not used to this yet, like I've not got used to the body. He then goes on and David's wife sees a van parked outside that she doesn't recognise, and it's a little sketchy. Later on that evening, you hear there's noise downstairs and David goes down to check what this noise is, and you're met by the gang's ringleader, Kappa, who resembles Charles Manson and his crew, and exactly what they did to Sharon Tate. If you're familiar with that, Charles Manson and his followers unalived Sharon Tate and her unborn child, which is horrific. Takes a part of that because they're in California as well. They're preaching that it's abnormal for this to be happening while David's replica is down on Earth, and Kappa is telling David's wife, you're an abomination, like the way you're living in sin, isn't him. And they just don't agree with this. They think maybe this is going down the route of AI and replicas, and they don't want this to go on. Unalive David's whole family and they burn his replica, which then results in David not being able to have a break away from being in space. Obviously, the traumatic events of him losing his whole family is terrible and horrific, but being in space on your own, because Cliff still has his replica and he's not always there, obviously makes David go insane. It obviously has an effect on David, and in order for the mission to be complete, they need two technicians. Only year 2 and 4-year mission. So David needs Cliff and Cliff needs David for them to get back home safely. It's unclear what this mission is. They don't really say. David has a conversation with one of the couples in the couple when he's at the cinema, and he gives a brief summary of, obviously it's important for the two of them to be on the ship because one person does one job and the other does the other. This is key to the story. David becomes very depressed, very lonely, very isolated. So Cliff and his wife Lana come up with this plan. Well, why don't we let him use your replica just to get some fresh air, to go in the forest side, that to give David a little break, that they would let him use the replica. This starts out as a good idea as you see David using Cliff's replica and he's happy, but he's also very sad. He's not been off the ship. It feels like he's got a bit of himself back, and this then leads him to draw the house that Cliff's in. And he said, this is amazing. I love this. If I had this piece of art, I would hang it in the house. Which then gives David the idea that he then wants to paint a thank you gift to Cliff. Now this is when it takes a dark turn. This is a very slow burn. Like it now, I have seen the full episode and obviously the ending and the whole storyline put together. At the start, it was a bit of a slow burn and I was wondering, where's this going to go? You've not really got any idea. I personally didn't really know what line it was going down. So anyway, as it continues, David starts to like Cliff's life. Obviously misses his family. He basically enjoys the time he has down on Earth. He's painting, He's listening to music. So David then takes advantage of this situation. He is lonely, and so is Lana, because Cliff isn't very affectionate. He likes to keep it quite professional while his replica is down on Earth. Lana is in the countryside on her own. The way David takes advantage of this situation is by breadcrumbing her a little bit. He paints her in the picture, sees herself in the picture, and she's very impressed by that. And then he offers to teach her how to paint, and she loves that. While he's doing this, he's standing behind Lana, and he's almost the way he was doing with his wife, with his arms coiled round her, and he has the music playing, which is the song La Mer, which in English means sea, and obviously as the title, all these little connections which are perfect Black Mirror. I love them, they're beautiful. There's also a lot of Easter eggs in this episode. I will put some as we go. He starts to take advantage of Lana's loneliness, and conjures up a plan for Lana to spend more time together. He goes and asks her if she has linseed oil, isn't a common product that you would have in your house, and she says no. And he said, could we go into town to get some? And she says, yeah, I'm sure Cliff wouldn't mind, because she's obviously thinking it's strictly business. He's just painting this portrait of their home. They then go into town, and Lana offers him Cliff's hat as a sign that they're getting closer, and they go into town, and I think David feels almost as if he's got his wife back, or some sort of family division back, into a bookstore for Lana. And this is where it suggests a book for Lana, which is called The Moon is a Harsh Mistress. This could be a play on words. This could be his subtle way of saying he wants her to be his mistress. It's very clever how Black Mirror do these hidden messages. You see Lana reading the book while she's in bed next to the real Cliff, stroking the spine of the book. And this gives an indication that she's starting to get feelings for, not even for David, but who she wishes Cliff was. Obviously, she's confused because David is inside Cliff's replica, so to her it's her husband, or the way he at least used to treat her, and it's bringing a bit of comfort to her. Things then take a drastic turn when David puts the moves on Lana, the same way he did with his wife, listening to La Mer. Then snaps out it, and she realises it's not her husband, and basically David is taking advantage of the situation. This is when you start to see the bad side of David. At the start, you think he's a really nice guy, family guy. As always with Black Mirror, trauma can change people. It can actually make them be the villain. Lana doesn't tell Cliff about this. It's only when Cliff's treadmill breaks down that he then goes into David's room, boredom, and finds portraits of Lana being sketched. Naked portraits of Lana. Cliff knows David sketches by memory, so this is where he erupts. He confronts David, to which David basically says, you take your wife for granted. You don't even know what you have. She's out down there, she's lonely. And Cliff is just like obviously acting like the way he should, and he's absolutely furious. Says to him like, you'll never ever see her again. She's my wife, and you'll never see her again. Cliff then confronts his wife, and Lana's brutally honest with him. She tells him that she's been lonely, and yes, she never cheated. She did seek that attention and validation from David using Cliff's replica because she enjoyed the way that he made her feel. They end up talking it out, and Cliff realises he's not been the greatest husband. Cliff then speaks to David and basically tells him, you'll never see her again. She doesn't want to see you. She actually finds you very grotesque, and you can see the change in David's face. Like, he is fuming, he's jealous. This is the turning point for him. There's a few cool shots here, especially when he shaves his facial hair. Josh Hartnett has no facial hair. He actually looks very, very serious. Knows something's going to go down now. And you kind of, for me, I kind of felt like get revenge on Cliff. He was going to hurt him in some sort of way, but the mission is required for two people. If Cliff dies or is unalived, David wouldn't survive, and vice versa. I think what was building here was build. This is when you think that David is trying to unalive Cliff. Bit of anticipation, he's left in space. What's happened here? If he's just going to leave him out there to die, and next minute he opens the door and lets him in. When they're working on the ship, They need to take all their belongings out and put them on a metal tray. That is when Cliff notices that his tag is gone to the machine to go into his replica. And this is when you know something's wrong. You see the panic, Cliff's face. He knows David has done something. David was trying to get back down to earth to apologise to Lana, wanted to use Cliff's replica. Cliff then goes and puts his body back in his replica, and when you see blood all over the walls, exactly like the way David's family was unalived, and symbols wrote in blood, a bit like that Y, which is also the symbol in white there. You know, Black Mirror, there's always Easter eggs. Cliff's character, who's played by Aaron Paul, that done an outstanding job. Like, this guy is incredible. Aaron's so versatile and so many things I've seen him in. Such a great job in this, because he's not only playing himself, he's playing David, playing his character. Very hard to do, like, to change the personality of your character. Sort of like Face Off, where Nicolas Cage and John Travolta both have to play each other. Exactly what Aaron Paul has to do in this, and he does a fantastic job. Also, Josh Hartnett in this as well. He is a fantastic bad guy, amazing in the new M. Night film Trap. Killer, I really like this dark side to him, because if you're like me and you're a 90s kid, you've seen him. Growing up, he was a heartthrob. He's just gorgeous, but he plays such a good dark role, and I'm so glad he's getting into different characters like this. Cliff's character, you don't even see the tragedy, you just see the pool of blood, and you see Aaron Paul just crying, and you feel his pain, and you know that his family's been unalived by David in Cliff's replica. So then you see at the end, Cliff goes back into space, and that's when you see Josh Hartnett, David, he just stares Cliff dead in the eye, and he kicks the chair, almost to say, come and join me. Now you're in the same boat. Now you understand how I feel, which is such a twisted revenge story. This is one of my favourite Black Knight episodes. I love season 6. For me, I really love Demon 79. I love Loch Henry and Beyond the Sea. I will be reviewing more of these, but I just love the dark side of humanity, especially when used with technology, because technology can be great for humanity, but in certain people's hands, that is where it goes wrong. And guys, let me know what you thought. Leave a comment below and what episode you would like me to review. If there's anyone that you would like me to dive into and review, just leave it in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Bye.